Supportive parenting. As I said earlier, parenting is the hardest job out there. So what I find as a family therapist is that parents are often making suggestions and then feel confused when their kids aren't doing those. So a suggestion often starts with, I wish you would, or you should. I wish you would put down the electronics. I wish you would exercise. But it's not really stating a clear expectation. And again, it's okay to make suggestions, but don't be disappointed or frustrated if your kids aren't following through because you're not really setting an expectation. When you are setting an expectation, it's concrete. We often use SMART goals, which I'm sure many of you know: specific, measurable, achievable, and realistic. Consistency is critical around those expectations, and that leads to consequences and rewards. And an expectation is your homework or your chore will be done by a certain time, or Wi-Fi will be turned off for the night, or you won't have access to Zoom. And I know it can feel really hard to set an expectation with your child. What I will tell you is that kids might not say it, but they need it. They need to know the difference between a suggestion and expectation. They need to know there's also a connection between responsibility, accountability, and privileges. Validating versus fixing. So parents are problem solvers. It's an innate quality and characteristic of being parents. When kids are little and they skin their knee, you knew exactly what to do, right? You clean your Band-Aid and you send them on their way. When kids are older and experiencing something that you might not see, struggling with something, it can be an impossible task to fix it for them. This is something you cannot love out of them. Validation is often what kids and adults are looking for. I hear you. It seems like you might be frustrated right now. It's very helpful, again, to have a proactive conversation with your kids around this. While you love and care about your kids, you cannot read their mind. So being able to say, like, when you're frustrated, what would be helpful for you? You know, do you want me to offer suggestions? Do you want me just to sit with you? So having that proactive conversation can be really helpful. And I think it gives your kids leaves your kids feeling like they have a voice, they have a role, and they have some control in how they're communicating and the effectiveness of that. The last part of this is consistency and predictability. As I mentioned earlier, kids need both. Be specific in what you're asking for in any situation. Use reflective listening and clarifying so that you know that you're on the same page. Finally, seeds. Sleeping well, getting up and going to sleep around the same time is really, really important. I think we all feel like you could sleep a little later and you can go to bed a little bit later, but having some structure around that, as Margaret talked about earlier, is also very, very important so that you are getting to the tasks that you need to accomplish on any given day, and you're just feeling better. E is for eating right, eating healthy. The second E is for exercise. The D is for doctor's orders, following doctor's orders, whether it is around medication for physical or psychiatric needs. If you have a question, if you're unsure, if something has changed because of COVID, please make sure that you're reaching out to your doctor. Thing that Margaret talked about was self-care. Self-care can be anything from making your favorite dessert, reading a book, a guilty pleasure on Netflix. Seeds is also a great way to model for your kids. And finally, identify the positives. Notice the small accomplishments. It may not be that they are completing the junior research paper or finishing a book report. It can be something small, taking out the garbage or getting an outline done. And identifying the positives, I think, helps your kids know that you're paying attention to what they're doing well. It also can be really helpful for you as a parent or a guardian to remind yourself of what your kids are doing well when there's so many expectations and demands, knowing that every day, everyone is doing their best.